Good morning, everybody. My name's Andy, and I'm the Partner Manager for Bytes. Thank you for attending our webinar today. In this, we will learn about the business benefits of Dynamics 365. Bytes have an ecosystem of specially selected partners who provide expertise in all areas of Microsoft. QUANTIQ is a leading Microsoft Gold partner in Dynamics, helping customers to deploy the entire Dynamics suite. We have Kevin Ingray, a senior solutions consultant from QUANTIQ, on today, who will take you through the webinar, and we'll host with Bytes a Q&A session at the end. A quick bit of housekeeping. During the webinar, you are muted, but you can submit questions at any time via the questions box on the right-hand side of the screen. Like I said, there is a Q&A session at the end to answer all of the submitted questions. The webinar recording will be made available to you in the next day or so, and also if you can finally just complete the critique form at the end where you can request a call back from one of our specialists at Bytes. I will now hand you over to Kevin from QUANTIQ.
Thanks, Andy. Right, so I'm just going to switch over to my screen, and we'll start taking a look at the Dynamics 365 platform. Okay, so my name is Kevin Ingray. I'm from QUANTIQ, who are a Microsoft Gold partner. As Andy mentioned, I'm a senior solutions consultant, which means I'm a technical pre-sales resource, but have spent numerous years working with the Dynamics 365 stack, and previously worked with other technologies in the Microsoft ecosystem, like SharePoint, and more recently stuff like Azure. So that's a little bit about my history. I'm going to take you through some slides around QUANTIQ and what we do as a business and how we do things as a business, and then on to some details around Dynamics 365. So today you'll see the core capabilities of the customer engagement platform. So we'll take you through all of the sort of key applications in there, and we'll also show you some details around how that can be used as part of your business application suite, and also some of the new changes that will be coming in the next major release of Dynamics. Okay, so about QUANTIQ. The key thing about us is that we make business simpler. Dynamics is a product that can be used to enhance pretty much any area of your business, and QUANTIQ have a specialist role in building out, and we're making Dynamics work for you as a business. So we've got vast experience in making sure that we help businesses make things simpler. Across our team, we've got very diverse sets of skills. So we've got solution architects, functional consultants, developers, lots of range and capabilities across all of the Dynamics suite as well. So when we go on to the next few slides, you'll see the breadth of the Dynamics platform from where it used to be and what it was in the past to where it is now. So QUANTIQ have a significant experience across there, including 950 total sort of projects delivered. We have extensive Microsoft accreditations, and generally lots of experience across the stack. So why work with QUANTIQ? Firstly, we have great people. We do lots of great things, and we make sure that as a key focus of the business that we are a great place to work. So we're ranked 23rd in the UK's Best Places to Work survey, which is the highest Dynamics partner. So we make sure that it's a culture that is very, very strong, and making sure that our people are happy in doing what they do, and making sure that that then breeds through to our client delivery. So we've got great people, and they can then deliver great projects. We get technology. As a techie person myself, I have a great passion for technology. Dynamics has come along in my lifetime and has changed the way I do things. And then you've got all of the sort of corresponding activities and platforms around it as well, such as the Power Suite that's coming out from Microsoft now. So we've got Power Apps, we've got Power BI, all of these new great technologies that we never used to have in the past that makes our life easier. So as QUANTIQ, we are early advisors and of these new platforms, and we just get the passion for seeing new stuff and helping realize how that can help you as a business. So we've got lots of experience with technology and the platforms around the Dynamics suite as well. So we also use Dynamics every day. It's the bread and butter of our business. So it would be one of those scenarios where we always use Dynamics in our personal business. So it's not just us saying, okay, we can show you how to do Dynamics. We use it ourselves. And on the next slide, we've got some of the typical advisory and implementation services that we do at QUANTIQ. So mostly we do implementation services, so helping you get up and running with whatever Dynamics product it is that you need, or help you build out a requirement in with Dynamics. But we also have project recovery capabilities. So we've got quite a lot of experience where we've picked up failed implementations or failing implementations of Dynamics by other partners and help get them back to a place where the customers are happy and making sure that Dynamics is still the best place to go. So we've got lots of experience of turning failing projects around, which is really crucial because it helps us as a business show that we are capable of doing stuff where previously it might have been a bad experience, but then turning around, building Dynamics as back to a platform where it's seen as driving business value. And alongside that, we do have managed service capabilities. We also have expanded into the Azure Cloud Services platform, so we can help design and manage server environments and all of this sort of around the infrastructure side of the Dynamics if you host on-premise. And we do standard sort of stuff around performance checks, making sure that your Dynamics platform is ticking along nicely and how we can help improve that. Some of our key clients, I'm just going to flash the screen up and we won't spend too long here, but we've got lots of clients who are using Dynamics 365 Customer Engagement Suite, customers like Carpetright, lots of big companies using various elements of the CRM side of things for customer service, sales applications, but also the finance and operations side as well. So Dynamics 365 business applications. So this is where we're going to go into the meat of the session and talk you through all of the capabilities in the Dynamics suite. So Dynamics is a range of business applications these days. Typically, it would have been, or you would have understood, Dynamics would have a CRM platform, so it would be sales and customer services, and then the typical ERP platforms around that, such as Dynamics GP, Dynamics Nav. So if you've used the finance system from Nav, that's now part of the broader Dynamics 365 suite, and AX, which has now become Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. As you can see on the product and technology experience from QUANTIQ, there's also a lot of applications around the main Dynamics 365 platform that we are vastly skilled in, such as IoT, so the Internet of Things capabilities, which we'll go on to in a bit more detail, but Power BI and all of the Azure platform as well. So Dynamics 365, from its history, was originally a CRM platform and ERP platforms from Microsoft, and then it evolved into the Dynamics 365 suite that we see today, which includes applications to deal with sales capabilities, field service, customer service, talent, which is the new HR style of modules coming into the Dynamics 365 ecosystem. But we also have Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central now, which is effectively the Dynamics Nav platform in the cloud, which is to help manage your financial aspects of your business and operate lower level operations management type scenarios. So Dynamics 365 for sales, if we start there, this is traditionally the core sort of CRM product that would have been in the Microsoft Dynamics CRM suite, now is an application effectively in its own right. And what we're going to look at is the key sort of business applications of that and the key features, as well as looking at what's coming in the new October release for Dynamics. So it's really key for us to point out that Dynamics is an ever evolving platform, and the significant benefits that you get by going with Dynamics are vast. Effectively, you get twice yearly major upgrades, which bring significant enhancements and benefits. So not just new features, but improvements to old ones. So in the October release of Dynamics, we have, for the main sort of capability coming in, is a unified interface. So the interface that you'll see for Dynamics changes slightly and becomes more consistent across mobile, across tablets, across PC and desktop. The experience is similar from wherever you consume Dynamics. So really big sort of major update. So in terms of the sales core capabilities, the key thing on the sales side is giving you a holistic view of what is going on in your sales elements of your business. So key fundamentals of understanding where opportunities are coming into the business, where leads are being generated, how those opportunities are being managed and run, and having an at-a-glance look at what we are expecting to close in terms of sales potentially, or projects that we might be winning. The sales capability can be used to track everything from the lead sort of initial query process through to a developed opportunity process, and all the way through from quotation to order. So it can be the crux of managing your entire sales process. And it does that by being driven by what's known as a business process flow. So your sales teams have ways of working, which they'll be used to and will have individual flavors of how they do things. But you can use business process flows, which are these boxes that you see on the smaller image on the bottom, which say, have you got this information? Have you done enough on this record to move it to the next level? Which is really crucial in the sales cycle. For instance, taking a lead from its conceptual request and requirement all the way through to actually, I know exactly what this is. I can now convert this into an opportunity and manage it effectively because I've answered enough questions around it to say with some degree of certainty, this is an opportunity for us as a business. Now, business process flows are standard in Dynamics, but they can be configured to your business. So it gives you the ability to track and develop how you manage the life cycle of a record in Dynamics. So we've got customers that use this for the sales cycle, so that they manage how sales effectively start and how they end. But we've got customers that use it for very complex customer service requirements, which we'll take a look at later. So managing internal processes for how you deal with the life cycle of a sale. Underpinning that, you have activity management. So you can keep on top of your customer engagements by tracking the correspondence and how you communicate. And this can be done in ways such as booking telephone calls, arranging appointments and meetings in Dynamics, which then integrate with your Outlook calendars, so you can see exactly what you're doing about your day in Dynamics, but also in the areas where you need it, such as Outlook. But you can also send email to and from customers in the system. So you'll be able to do stuff like send out sales quotations via Dynamics to your customers and have the record of that held in Dynamics so you know this is what has happened. Relationship analytics. Now this is where the Dynamics 365 for sales element starts really going into a place where it's incredibly useful for you as a business. So relationship analytics gives you access to data around what's going on in Dynamics, but also gives you contextual information on how to improve things. So you can see stuff like the risk of an opportunity based on historical nature. So it lets you and helps you focus on chasing the right opportunities based off of what has happened in the past in terms of similar opportunities. So it also tracks around the relationship. So if you've not had contact with a potential customer for X amount of time, it will say you've not had any correspondence. This is starting to feel like this opportunity might be slipping. Do you want to do something about it, such as arrange a call or get back on top of this? But it also gives you the ability to diagnose and understand the engagement. So how long is it taking for the customer to get back to me? Well, they take an awful long time, but I'm being really quick. Perhaps they're not as interested in our opportunity. Or conversely, this person constantly emails us and they seem really, really into what we're potentially selling them. So maybe this is one to focus on. But it also works out relationships between people. So you can see the accounts and opportunities and who in your team can best help you potentially win an opportunity. So relationship analytics are really cool. And they just give you snapshots of the information, but tell you how this could be perceived. So you can use it in lots of certain scenarios. So if you've got a opportunity that's due to close in the next few days, it will tell you. It will help keep your sales team on top of their world, so that they don't necessarily have to rely on their own knowledge. They can use the capabilities and dynamics to help improve how they manage their day. So we mentioned already that there's integration with Outlook, which you can see on some of the pictures on the screen. You can have and track records from your Outlook client into Dynamics, but you also get a contextual window, which will show you information about a contact if it's detected by the Dynamics 365 app. So for instance, you can see that I'm emailed in and it's picked up that I'm a known contact in the system and that I've got a few cases open. So you can use all this information in the platforms where you need to use them. So you can use elements of Dynamics, but if you're comfortable in working in Outlook, sending emails, you can still get that data into Dynamics and see contextual relevant information. So it doesn't just stop with the integration with Outlook, it actually integrates further with the Office 365 suite as well. So you have full sales documentation and the ability to generate Word templates and Excel templates from the data in Dynamics. So you can create stuff like a sales quotation natively in the platform, branded to you as a business, which can then be sent to the customer. And underpinning Dynamics 365 for Sales is a complete security-based role permission capability that lets you have field level security. So certain people can see certain levels of information. Particularly relevant when we come to GDPR compliance, and it has lots of helpful processing power in there to manage consent and the turnaround of personal data. So briefly, relationship sales, as part of the relationship analytics suite, it basically tells you what's happening in your world. So it can notify you that a person has left a business and then somebody that you were dealing with on an opportunity, and how that can be managed and handled effectively. But it also tells you stuff like a meeting's coming up with a buyer, so time to get ready for that meeting. What's coming in Dynamics 365 for Sales in what's known as the October release. So we get a new application, so Dynamics 365 AI for Sales. So it's an app to help sales managers determine the sales performance looking at the data in Dynamics. So it can show relationship health. So the stuff that we mentioned earlier, this person hasn't been contacting you for a long time. So therefore the health of that account, for instance, might be dipping. But it also can look at the general pipeline based off of statistical and machine learning sort of history of what's been going in your pipeline. It can give you percentages of what you should commit and tell you, based off of what you've done in the past, this is what your pipeline might convert to in the future. Some of the enhancements, and these are some really cool features coming in here. So you have a who knows whom, which lets you see if any of your colleagues or contacts potentially know someone else. So they might be that they've dealt with someone in that business in other areas, so they can then act as an introduction point to that prospect. But you also have what's known as talking points. So this uses the relationship insights capability to say, the last time that person communicated with you, they told you they were going on annual leave, for instance. And the talking points will say, well, now that they've responded back to you, or you're trying to respond to them, perhaps you want to talk to them about their annual leave as an icebreaker, effectively. So it gives you the ability to look at the history of your correspondence and give you prompts about what you might say in order to help break the ice on speaking to that person again. And you have a completely new feature called playbooks. Now these are really exciting. Playbooks are effectively a set of automation and repeatable sales activities that can be used for any sort of certain scenario. So a classic one here would be a member of your sales team leaves your business and they've got loads of leads and opportunities assigned to them. How do we as a business manage that? Well, we trigger a playbook, and that playbook would be, we assign all of the opportunities and leads to a new salesperson within your organization, and then specify that they get in contact with them and say, I'm the new sales or a new account manager for you and your account. This is how I'm now going to progress helping you. So playbooks give you some clarity and guidance on what to do in certain scenarios, and they can trigger in automatically when something happens, like a member of staff leaving. As you might be aware, there's the new sort of product in the Microsoft Office suite called Microsoft Teams, which is Microsoft's new sort of Skype for business and chat sort of integration tool. The Teams integration will occur in the next release, basically giving any activity in Dynamics the ability to link to a team. So it could be that you link your opportunities to your sales team and say, hey guys, I'm working on this opportunity. Has anybody got any references for the healthcare sector? And you'll be able to use the knowledge and communication of teams to better communicate with your internal colleagues. Okay. Dynamics 365 customer service. So this would have been the case functionality in Dynamics CRM. Effectively, it gives you customer service dashboards again, so you can see a one-stop workplace where your agents and supervisors who manage any inquiries, complaints, and general case workloads to see what's going on in their world. And it gives you the ability to capture and process these inquiries and deal with them effectively. So what you can do is run your entire sort of customer service experience out of Dynamics and have your customer service agents work within the platform. So you have a single view of your customer base. So you can see that this person might be saying that they've got an issue with a product that they've bought in the past, but they've also got open opportunities with us. So this might help me in how I deal with them because they could be of potential value to us as a business. Case management gives you the access to SLAs, so you can track and monitor how well you're performing in dealing with these queries and inquiries, and giving you a process-driven way of dealing with them. So as we mentioned earlier, using the business process flows to effectively manage the workload of your teams, especially around the customer service side of things. It also has the ability to author and publish knowledge articles. So knowledge bases are really key in the customer service world, because if you can point someone to a knowledge base because it's something that's a repeatable action or something that you know this is the way to solve that issue, knowledge bases are great because you can help empower your users to self-serve to some degree by looking at your knowledge base. Or if they actually communicate with you, say, actually, no, we've got a knowledge base article that helps you deal with that. Here's how you do it. And that can be sent as part of the interaction with the customer. So we mentioned service level agreements. They can show sort of key performance indicators on how often and how well you respond, but service levels can be completely tailored to you as an organization. So the standard ones that Dynamics will typically do in a customer service scenario is a first response, so the initial communication with the customer, and a resolution SLA, but there's no reason why you can't expand this to what you need as a business. So we've done certain scenarios where they have a tailored response, which is a human response to a case to say, hi, my name is Kevin Ingray, I'm dealing with your case, to track how quickly they can respond and deal with that side of things. Core element of customer service, and this is especially going to get better in the next version, is the concept of omnichannel. So we live in a world of customer service where communication comes from various formats. It's not just standard email anymore, or not just standard telephone calls. It could be social channels. It could be via a web chat and artificial intelligence chatbots. It could be numerous sort of channels, and Dynamics is able to facilitate and manage the omni-channel approach. And we'll take a look at some of the more incoming features in that area shortly. Now, Dynamics 365, this is not just relevant for customer service, but it's highlighted here, is that Dynamics has the capability of portals. These are really, really interesting because you have the ability to track and manage data and let consumers and your customers look and see, for instance, knowledge base articles themselves, and all in a friendly branded portal. So we've done lots of portals for customers, and it helps your customer base self-serve. They can also use it to submit data to you. So it could be that if they've got an issue, they can create a case, or for instance, you could say, if they're interested in a new opportunity, you could have that managed and facilitated through your portal. So the portal shows all the data that you specify in Dynamics and lets it also work and create records back to Dynamics for you. So what's coming in the next version? So we've got some new engagement channels. So we've got an SMS channel, so you can do text messages and respond to cases and queries via text message. But you also have live chat integrated into Dynamics natively. So this can be embedded in your website, and you'll see on the top screen that you have the ability to accept web chats. We also have unified routing. So this is very advanced routing and work distribution based on which agent is best to deal with this issue. So it could be that you've got all of your agents tied up on web chats, but there's somebody who's available who's a specific expert in a certain area. You can divert and route chats or cases to that person so they can better manage and better help your customers. And you also have better views for the agent and supervisor as well. So being able to see what your agents are up to and how you can help and improve data around response times, etc. Dynamics 365 Field Service is the next application. Now this takes the concept of customer service slightly more into the field. So we have the ability to manage work orders effectively, which could be a broken boiler at a customer building that you are managing. So it has the full capability of roles and resources and skills. So I can manage certain people for certain situations to deal with a certain job. So I could have an electrician go out to deal with an electrical fault at the customer site because the work order states that it's an electrical issue. Work orders can be managed via a schedule board, so you can see exactly who's doing what, where, and how long it's going to take them to get there and perform the function. And it also uses the Bing Maps API to actually show you where all of these work orders are on a map, and also where your resources are and how they are getting to the job site. So it has a field-based application that lets you manage how I'm getting to a job, what I've done whilst I'm there, and communicating that back to the main team who will be dealing with the field service side of things. So you can see all of that capability on the schedule board. Field service also has the concept of connected IoT, which stands for Internet of Things. Basically, you can have telemetry devices that send data from remote applications. So it could be, and we've got some customers who are doing this sort of stuff, where they have an IoT device on a generator, for instance, and anytime that the electricity surges, it sends telemetry data to Dynamics to say, actually, we think there might be an issue here. So you can have it proactively tell Dynamics of an impending issue, such as the temperatures are exceeding the limit or electricity voltage has gone too high. And you can use that to create a work order and immediately dispatch a technician to resolve. So you can use IoT connected devices to tell you before something happens by setting basic sort of details around this is the safe limit. So it can be very interesting in lots of cases. And the field service has a mobile app, as I mentioned, which lets you see where your work orders are, how you're going to get there by using whatever mapping technology that you personally use on your mobile, but also lets that information go back to the main sort of central hub and see where your resources are. So what's coming in the next release? Some really cool features for field service, actually. We've got the concept of crews and multi-resource scheduling. So you might have people who perform as a team a set of individual tasks. So for instance, a scenario of the electrician, we might have somebody who is able to do certain levels of voltage work. So you have to send them out, but you also might have somebody else who does safety checks and does corresponding activity. You can have the concept of crews to perform and complete a work order with individuals doing individual tasks. The connected field service element gets updated to use the new IoT Central platform, which is a new product in the Microsoft Azure suite, which lets you see all of your IoT telemetry, but it can be integrated with Dynamics, so you can see all of your data across all of your IoT devices, and anytime something happens based on that telemetry, you can trigger any sort of action into Dynamics. And the field service mobile gets an awful lot of improvements as well. So we've got stuff like background location sharing, so we can see where our technicians are en route, and we can then use that with push notifications to remind the technicians, for instance, when they arrive at site, here's some pre steps that you need to do, such as let us know you're there, and say make sure that you're wearing your safety boots, for instance. So that's the Dynamics 365 field service capabilities. Dynamics 365 project service automation. So anybody who's familiar with the Microsoft project application will be relatively familiar with this. Project service automation effectively gives you the ability to manage projects and staff and resources in Dynamics, but it also gives you the ability to start building out that project as part of the sales cycle. So if you deal with services and projects in your business, you can have, as part of the quotation and sort of sales opportunity cycle, start building out, okay, so we've got a customer, they might need a functional consultant here, they might need a developer there, and start planning that activity. And then you can use that with the schedule board that we saw in field service to actually start preparing to sort of book out those resources, so that you can provision them as part of a sales cycle. You also have the full concept of work breakdown structures like you would see in Microsoft Project. So you can see all the tasks and resources required to deliver a project. These can be as deep and involved as you need them to be. So there's no sort of limits. It's a big as project as you would need to do as a business, but all of that is tied back again to the resources and profiles and skills. So you can only have certain people who are able to deliver certain pieces of a work breakdown structure. PSA, as it's known, it also gives you the ability to do forecasting, because we can see that there's lots of projects potentially coming in. We can see the utilization and capacity we might need to deliver those. Also, because of the ability to track and manage live projects, we can see our resource utilization across the business and across our resources, and our capacity. So this can be really useful if you're running at projects and you've got no capacity, but you've got lots of pipeline for opportunities coming in. So you can start looking at, actually, we might need to bring in more resource to actually win these opportunities, because we won't be able to commit to them otherwise. The PSA product also tracks the time and expenses, so all of your resources can say, this is the time I've done on this item. So if it overspills, for instance, you can then work as a project manager to effectively manage that in Dynamics, and also track the expenses of your resources and how and what they are spending on for a project. And all of this can be underpinned by the Power BI capability, so you can see all of this data in really rich, easy to use Power BI dashboards. So what's coming in PSA? Improvements to the expense and journal lines. So basically, you can reject expense lines or change ones to approved expense lines, and you have temporary project codes. So you might not have an internal project code for this a project that you're running immediately. You might take some time because it has to go to your finance system and stuff like that. This will let you get up and running quickly and be able to be more reactive and flexible with stuff that's happened as part of your project. You also have the ability to have unit-aware expense categories. So it provides a way for price and costs for subcontracted deliverables to be logged. So it could be that you hired a contractor for £1,000 for 5 days. You log that as a unit-aware expense category to say, this wasn't a cost that we consumed as part of the project, and therefore we don't need to have our sales and sell pricing adjusted for that. It's just a cost that we consumed as part of the project. And the key one, as I mentioned at the very, very beginning, we have the unified interface, which is a radical change in how Dynamics is presented. And this goes sort of de facto from the October release, and PSA comes in line with that. Really nice, easy to use, clean interfaces that are very consistent across whatever way you consume Dynamics. So mobile, the experience will be similar to that on a desktop and on a tablet. Okay, so Dynamics 365 for marketing. So D365 for marketing was the sort of latest application in the suite, and really, really useful, because marketing was the element that, how do we generate leads into the system? Well, Dynamics 365 for marketing can help you do that. And build out that sort of 360 of your customer base in a lot more powerful ways. So you might be aware that Dynamics 365 has the ability to link with stuff like Click Dimensions, which is another marketing platform by an ISV vendor, but also Adobe Campaign. Microsoft have actually brought out their own applications part of the suite now. So the core concept of it gives you customer journeys, which are drag and drop interfaces for managing campaigns and orchestrating them. They're very configurable, they're very customizable, and even better, they have the ability to be dependent on an action. So for instance, we could have a journey that sends an email out to a customer, and off of the back of that email send, we can have, did the customer open the email? If they did, we can do something different as part of our journey, or perhaps we can change it in a certain way. Same goes off if we invite a customer to an event. Did they attend? If they did, we can send them a thank you for coming. If they didn't, we can send them an email saying, we'll catch you next time. Lots of capability in the customer journey part of the Dynamics 365 marketing suite. So it's also backed up by email marketing. So the ability to create and design custom emails to send to your customers. So this can be for marketing purposes, it can be for generic purposes, it might be inviting customers to events. So it has a full template capability, so you can build your own templates for reusing time and time again. Also has the ability to be HTML driven, so if you do design stuff in a system outside of Dynamics, you can still do that and just bring the HTML across. It also has landing pages. Now these are really useful because you can use these as touch points to talk to our customers and get information from them. Very, very useful in subscription management scenarios. So we could send out an email with an embedded landing page saying, tell us how you want to be contacted. As you're probably all aware, prior to GDPR kicking in, you would have had loads of emails from various different companies saying, let us know how you want us to contact you. If we don't hear anything, then we'll remove you from our database. So landing pages can be used in that sort of front going forward to give your customers the ability to tell you how they want to be communicated to. So you can use that to manage subscription preferences, contact preferences, as a landing page on your website or embedded into your email marketing campaigns. We can then use the segmentation and lead scoring capabilities integrated in your website to track anonymous users and what they are doing. For instance, have they been accessing your website? Have they gone on a landing page and then have they told us who they are? We can track some details around that journey and segment them. So we can give scoring to leads based on the activity that they've done. So the more activity that they do, the higher score that they get. And then we can say this lead is actually sales ready now. This one isn't ready because they haven't done enough interaction with us. And there's no point chasing after them because they're very light in what they've done. Whereas if you have somebody who's submitted a form, registered for an event, they could be cast as a high priority lead or a hot lead, and therefore being sales ready. So interestingly, Dynamics 365 also has a complete event management capability. Not a lot of marketing platforms tend to do this, and they typically will give this out to platforms like Eventbrite. But Microsoft have got an event management platform that manages all of the locations, facilities. It has a business process flow underpinning how you as a marketing team deliver that. You can also use it to manage customer attendance, so it can print out or give your customers QR codes that can be scanned in and register their attendance. So you can say, here's your badge for the event. It's unique to you as an individual. When it's scanned in, it can update the attendance record to say this person has attended. But then you can also use that as part of your customer journey to say, did they attend? Well, as soon as that's scanned, yes, they did. And we can then trigger our customer journey to carry on that process for them. You also have the ability to use post-event surveys. So Dynamics 365, if you buy any of the applications, you get access to the Voice of the Customer platform, which is effectively a survey tool, very much like SurveyMonkey, but it keeps the data in Dynamics, and you can see all of the history of what they've been sent. So you can use post-event surveys for that. What's coming? Deeper LinkedIn integration. So we've got the ability to orchestrate journeys that react to LinkedIn lead gen forms. The marketing calendar shows you all activity that's due to happen as part of the marketing platform, and integration with the Dynamics 365 social listening capabilities. So you can see all of the social media engagements that are happening and monitor them as part of your journey. So it could be that you tweet out that a particular hashtag and then you watch that hashtag in the social listening application that comes as part of buying into the Microsoft Dynamics 365 platform. As a side, you get, if you buy into the Dynamics 365 customer engagement platform, you also get access to Microsoft Power Apps and Flow. Now, Power Apps, they could be a session entirely on their own, but effectively they are Microsoft's mobile, tablet, and desktop capability to build apps. And these can use data from Dynamics, they can use data from SharePoint, they can build and help you build any sort of number of business application uses. So we've seen them do stuff like lead generation forms. So when you're out at a conference, you have a Power App that says pop your details in here, and when they click submit, it creates a record in Dynamics straight away for you. Or you might have seen some of the stuff from Microsoft where Heathrow are using Power Apps to manage when planes are being to be cleaned, stuff like that. Lots of capability in Power Apps. This is something that we can show you as part of potentially a different session. So if you want to talk more about Power Apps, get in contact with one of your Bytes account managers, and they'll be able to bring you into conference with us around Power Apps. Microsoft Flow is a system that basically is Microsoft's workflow engine, and it has lots of uses in Dynamics world because flows can be configured from Dynamics. They can consume data from an account in Dynamics, for instance, and then have a corresponding action happen. So for instance, if you have an opportunity that's been won, a flow could kick in that then posts to a Microsoft Teams channel saying this is an opportunity that's been won by Kevin Ingrace for X amount of money, stuff like that. Lots of capability to build business process driven flows, and you build workflows to automate and improve how you do things as a business. Okay, so licensing. Just going to pop onto these screens just to show you what the sort of standard licensing scenarios are. So Dynamics 365 lets you license individual apps. So you can buy access to sales, you can buy access to field service, or you could buy what's known as a plan. So we've been talking about the customer engagement platform today, and that has a customer engagement plan, which gives you access to Power Apps, sales, field service, customer service, PSA, and marketing. So if you buy access to the plan, you get access to all of the corresponding apps. Now, the way that we look at this is because it's a subscription-based model these days, you're effectively buying into lots of different items and ways of working. So in the scenario that we've got, you're buying 100 customer engagement plans and 150 team member licenses, which are lower level access to certain applications. And if you blend it around, it comes out and works out sort of roughly like the cost of £1.16 per person per day for your organization. Effectively, a cup of coffee at your sort of local coffee shop, it becomes a cost that you just consume to get access to this sort of stuff. So if you actually increase this and go for a more Dynamics 365 plan, it gives you access to the customer engagement side and the unified operations side, as well as activity users and team members. This then just sort of increases and becomes sort of $2.99 per day. This is based on a blended software consumption across the entire organization. So the more plans that you do and the more licenses that you consume can be considered a small sort of price in the overall grand scheme of things and how that can actually build and change your business. So back on that front, if we were blending those costs across the business, $2.99 per day to actually get access to the entire Dynamics suite and across time sort of roughly works out £1,000. This is back on this side because you've got lots of team members, which are really low level plans, but it's all of these different licenses blended. It's just a scenario for you to see how across the organization this can be sort of consumed as a small cost. But obviously licenses and access to these different apps cost different levels. If you're interested in talking about licensing, it's definitely worth getting in contact with your Bytes account manager, because I'll be able to take you through in a lower level, detail around what you get as part of a plan, how much it costs for X amount of licenses to, say, for instance, Dynamics 365 for sales. And we'll be able to have that conversation with you. So back just on what QUANTIQ offer. So whilst we do all the implementation services, it's worth noting that we don't just leave you on your journey with Dynamics. We want to be long-term sort of clients and partners. So we offer managed services, and our support services are really, really simple. You call us, we solve the issue. So we don't have sort of fixed long-term commitments. You can pay us a retainer, which is a monthly installment that basically secures access to our experts who will be able to help you. And then you can pay as you go per instant if you need to. So you have the value of having us behind the scenes ready to help when needed, but then only paying for what you use. So we, just as part of the managed service, we have lots of capability there, so we can help you with training, customization, supporting, or the actual application itself. And you have access to us via a portal, so 24/7 access to that, and extended hours, phone lines to our consultants, developers, whatever you need in order to resolve your issue. So we have the commercial model, as mentioned, of a retainer, and then a bank of hours if you need to have some assurance that you can just call off whenever you need to, or a pay-as-you-go model. And that is the sort of ends of our slides now. So that was the Dynamics 365 customer engagement platform. Any questions or queries, do let us know. And if you wanted to talk in more detail about Dynamics and how it could potentially be used by your business, or seeing any sort of demos or more detail around it, definitely get in contact with your Bytes account manager, and they'll be able to arrange conversations with us at QUANTIQ, and we'll be more than happy to take you through some of the capabilities in a deeper dive. So thank you for listening. I've been Kevin Ingray, and thank you for attending the Dynamics 365 customer engagement webinar.
Thank you, Kevin, and thanks everybody for joining today. If you do have any questions that you'd like Kevin to answer now, specifically around what you've heard today, you can pop them into the questions box on the right-hand side of your screen. Alternatively, if you think of something after today's webinar, then you can email tellmemore@bytes.co.uk. We'll pick that up and get some response over to you directly, or you can speak to your Bytes account manager, and they'll be more than happy to help. As my colleague mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, the recording will be made available to you all, so I'll send that round in the next day or so. And there is a feedback form at the end of the webinar that will just pop up. It's just got 2 or 3 questions, so we really, really do appreciate your feedback for this type of thing, and it helps us to tailor our future webinars. But there doesn't seem to be any questions at the moment, so I'll leave you all to the rest of your day and release you all. Thank you everybody for joining, and thank you, Kevin, for your time on today's webinar.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone.